Marvel Future Fighters, amidst all of the sales and events for the 9-year anniversary, we have a brand new archive event. So you reach it by going into the main tab for the menu and then hitting archive and then going to Shield Archive. And you want to play with this tab up here until it shows events, and you have the brand new 9-year anniversary special gift. Now you want to do this because this is only on for the next 16 days. So you have to sort of get on it. Part of it is given for free. You get the trophies automatically, and then you have to grind out the medals in Dimension missions, and you can click to see them and click the location there in Dimension missions, and then you can farm the tuxedos, which I've already done by accident sort of, in Dispatch missions with energy. And the reason why you want to do this is because not only do you get tier 3 rewards, as you see up there, you get 200 EOD, 200 TCP, and 100 CCF. You also get a free icon, which is Captain America, and then you get a free Mega Tier 2, or sorry, a free Tier 2, it's Mega Tier 2 basically, a free Tier 2 Premium Selector. So this will automatically give you a Tier 2 character that is either very difficult to farm or completely paid only. So this is a really good mission. I love these kinds of quests, especially for free-to-play players. It's fantastic. For players that own all these characters, boo-hoo, this isn't really for us, but I still love making these videos because it gives the free-to-play something to grind for, and that is awesome. And it also gives newer players, returning players, you know, low spenders, it gives them something to grind for. So I think this is fantastic. But there's a lot of BS in this ranking. There's 70 characters here, and like half of them you don't even want to consider. So I will do a ranking of that later on in the video, but first I want to give you some tips for farming the Shield Archive. And you can see I'm doing a pretty good job of it myself, so I think I know what I'm doing. So first thing you want to do is you want to open up the main tab again. You want to go to your inbox, you want to go to the Notice tab, and then you want to scroll down to the... I don't know where it is now because I've already collected it, but there's basically one that gives you the 10 medals. Okay, so you just have to go and find it. I don't know where it is now because I already collected it, but there's one of these that in this sort of mess of pop-ups here, one of these gives you the 10 trophies that you need to kick it off, okay? And so then once you collect them from the Notice tab, you'll go to your inventory and you'll see them there already. So they're not automatically applied to your Shield Archive, so that's kind of the confusing thing, but they're given to you for free. Everyone gets them for free in the Notice tab. But then you have to go over to the archive, and you have to go here, and you have to click Combine Data. So that's the first thing you want to know, and then you just hit max. It doesn't cost you any gold or anything. Boom, you're done. And now you've automatically finished one of the 3 that you need, and it automatically pushes you to like whatever, 40% or 33% completed. Then from there, all you have to do is farm Dispatch with energy for the tuxedos, and there's 10 of them, and then farm, I think 10 or 20 tuxedos, and then farm 20 medals from Dimension missions. So because this is a 16-day event, you do have some time, right? You can see the event ends in 16 days. You have to pay attention to something because a lot of people get mixed up between the event day ending and the last day that the drops will end. And you can see here, there's a different timer. The drops do not last for 16 days. The drops only last for 13 days. So you have just under 2 weeks. Now, it's possible that between now and the end of the event, they're going to give away an opportunity. They're going to have some sort of new token shop or something where you can trade in tokens for some of these items if you missed out, if you haven't finished your farming yet. Sometimes they do that, sometimes they don't. I wouldn't rely on it. I frankly don't think it's needed. I don't think it's necessary, but I just wanted to give you that information just in case it happens. But you should play the game assuming it's not going to happen. So for Dimension missions, since you have 13 days, my advice would be just do your regular number of farming missions. I do 10. I literally just come in here, I clear ticket, I use, and I do 10, and I'm done. I've already done my 10, so I don't want to do another 10, but I literally just do my 10, and I'm in and I'm out. And I would do whatever your normal is, whether it's 10 or 20 or 30. Do whatever your normal is to get the normal number of rewards that you want to get from here, and then stop. And then once you're running out of time, when there's maybe like 6 days left, or 5 days left to collect those medals, right? And again, you can always go here and check, right? When that timer, instead of saying 13 days, when that timer says like 6 days or 5 days, then you can farm this more aggressively. And if you want to farm this more aggressively, you're actually better off lowering the difficulty to difficulty 6, because that is the highest difficulty with the lowest energy cost. You can see that the energy cost is only 4. Once you bump it up to 7, the energy cost goes up to 8. It doubles. So it's going to more than double. It ends up going all the way up to 12 if you don't have boost points and you're on difficulty 15. But yeah, it gets really high. So my advice, if you're trying to just rapidly farm the dimension missions to get those drops, they don't actually show up here, but to get the drops from dimension missions that are those medals, then you should lower the difficulty from 15 to 6. And this is the same advice when you're farming for the research stuff from Epic Quests. As far as the tuxedos go, you get the tuxedos from Dispatch. Now, you can farm any sector of Dispatch that you want. My advice to you would be only farm Sector 7 and up, because, of course, at Sector 7, you can get premium rewards. So you can get your obelisks and your ISO and your cards and your Uru, but you can also get Odin's Blessing. You can also drop a premium card. You can also get Fully Awakened ISO. It can also drop a CTP. Whereas, if you go below Sector 7, and we talk about this whenever we talk about farming Dispatch, there's no chance. You can see those little gold icons have turned blue because now there's no chance to drop CTPs, Odin's Blessings, premium cards, etc. So my advice is start here. But I would say by now, if you're not a brand new player, you should be able to farm consistently higher than Sector 7, especially if you have some Tier 4s. Tier 4s and a little bit of Pierce just eat through Dispatch. So I would suggest targeting at least Section 12. Section 13 is technically the highest, but it's a lot more difficult. Like, it's a big difficulty spike over 12. So I don't know if it's worth the time investment or the possibility that you fail a mission halfway through and then you auto-played overnight 50 missions and you wake up and you only did 5 missions because you failed the 6th one. It's not worth the headache. So I would say farm 12.5 or 12.2. These are really fast missions with very few loading screens, and just farm that as many times as you can with a dispatch team like this. It doesn't have to be this specific dispatch team. It just has to be, or it should be, your 3 strongest characters. So if your 3 strongest characters are, Jean Grey, Spider-Man, and Thor, just slap them together on a team, whatever, just go. As long as they're your strongest characters, they're tier 4, whatever. If you have more options available to you, your Spider-Man has a PvP build, maybe you take him off, you add Moon Knight in, right? Moon Knight, Jean Grey, and Thor, they all have PvE builds, they all have Rage or Judgment CTPs or Energy CTPs, sure, go ahead. Ideally, right, if you want to make the most out of this dispatch farming, you want to choose characters that use either a Judgment or a Rage because they're being auto-played. They don't control their rotation, so proccing is going to be very difficult. So even if you have a strong character like Moon Knight or whatever, proccing with an Energy CTP or Hela with a Mighty Destruction, it's not going to work out well because they're just going to pop one skill and proc on whatever skill they pop first. It's not like when you can manually play. So yeah, focus on characters, I would say, who have PvE builds, who are tier 4, and then, of course, who can take advantage of sort of spam rotations like a Judgment or a Rage, or an Obelisk that has the mini Rage Anger proc. But yeah, you just farm those dispatch missions and you'll drop them. I wasn't even really trying to farm dispatch heavily. I farmed maybe like 200 runs or less. Less than 200. It's got to be like 100 runs, and I got all 20 tuxedos. I don't want to say it's like super easy, but it also wasn't very hard for me. So, you can sort of take that for what it is. It might be harder for you. It's kind of luck based. But yeah, so that's how you get all of those items that you feed into the Shield Archive in order to unlock those tier 3 materials, unlock that icon, and then unlock that premium tier 2 selector. And that's really what you want to strive for, because these are where the juicy rewards are and you get a brand new character. So let's take a look now at what the ranking is going to look like for the premium tier 2 selector. So for this, I went ahead and I pre-set up a ranking system here because there's just too many characters and I don't want to spend a 45-minute video ranking everything one by one. So you'll see here that we have at the very tippy top, you have excellent. These are just very, very strong characters. Then you have great characters, mostly supports. Then you have good characters, again, mostly supports. And then you have characters that I'm identifying via their rarity. So these characters are not really good, but it's more about their rarity at this point. So you have Dimension Mission rare characters where you can get them from Dimension Mission, so they're not very rare. That's why they're sort of higher on the list. Then you have Epic Quest Shifters who are harder to get. Actually, it should be like that. The Epic Quest Shifters are harder to get, so they should be higher on the list because they should be a higher priority. And then you have the farmable category. Although these characters are on the premium tier 2 selector, they should never be chosen because they're so easy to farm. You can easily farm like 10, 20 bios a day for them. There's absolutely no reason to waste a premium tier 2 selector on these farmable characters. And then at the bottom, you have rare and useless. So these characters are rare, which is nice, right? Because otherwise you'd have to pay to get these characters, but they're sort of useless. Now, there is a possibility that some of these characters could be featured in the future, like sure, Yelena could be featured in the future. for Thunder, or probably will be featured in the future, I should say, for Thunderbolts. To be clear, I think that Farmable is the worst category, so I'm going to switch these around. But I still think these characters are, for the most part, quite useless. Like, yeah, Kitty Pryde is a leadership for mutants. I mean, so is Magic, and their leadership is not that much different. So is Magneto, right? Like, you know what I mean? Jubilee is just terrible. She could get something for X-Men 97, but she could get nothing. You know, spending your premium tier 2 selector on her is taking a big risk. Like, sure, maybe Sony's going to do Morbius 2, but maybe Morbing time is over permanently, right? So you can take a flyer on one of these characters if you want, but again, I just want to caution you against that. I wouldn't do that unless you've unlocked or farmed out most of these or all of these characters. But yes, everything from orange up, these can all be farmed except for a few besides a few exceptions. Like Dazzler cannot be farmed. She is selector or paid only. But all of the Epic Quest shifters can technically be farmed, albeit very slowly. All of these Dimension Mission characters can be farmed. He can be farmed. He can be farmed. He can be farmed. She can be farmed. And these three can also be farmed through Dimension Mission characters. But that's not everyone. This is only like about half the list. So we're going to go ahead and rank everybody else now. Because everybody else you see at the bottom here, these are all Biosub and X-Gene Sub only characters. So these characters, they don't quite fall into the category of rare and useless. They're like a little bit better than rare and useless. But most of them are in fact rare and useless. Yeah. So, I mean, I know that the Red She-Hulk has a support ability, but she's pretty much, you guessed it, rare and useless. Slapstick is rare and useless, and he has no chance of being featured in the MCU anytime soon, so that's an L. Mr. Sinister is good. He's not bad. I would definitely put him up here, but he needs his artifact, so keep that in mind. Without the artifact, he's pretty terrible. Rescue's pretty bad. I would call her pretty much rare and useless. Cassie is so useless and rare, even though she has a slight support ability for speed types. Riri Williams is amazing. You can also farm Riri Williams from Dimension Missions, so she's not that rare, just to keep that in mind. But she's also very, very good, right? Just like Enchantress and these other ones, she's very, very good. So you do want to keep that in mind. If rarity is an issue for you, like if rarity is your top priority, then, you know, obviously these characters are not that important. But I like to think of the premium tier 2 selector as more about getting the most value back, right? Even if it doesn't save you that much time. Like, sure, you could choose Jubilee and you get a character that you could never get free to play. So you're like, wow, I have Jubilee now. Yes, and I'm free to play. But then you're like, oh, I can use Jubilee in Shadowland, and that's it, right? And Jubilee doesn't actually do anything for your account, whereas you could just unlock Valkyrie, and now you have this banging support who gets even better if you get her uniform, and you can immediately plug her in once you get her transcended. You can immediately plug her into World Boss Legend content. You can plug her into ABX content, ABL content, boom, boom, boom. She's out there swanging and banging, right? So, again, I prefer the latter, but I can understand people who just go for rarity. And Baku's really good and is also really rare. So keep that in mind. He's a good pick because he's very good and he's also very rare. Kahori is rare, but not very good. She was given away. Like some of these characters like Red She-Hulk and Spot and stuff, they were given away once upon a time, Omega Red, with 5 bios, but that's gone now. So they're basically like super rare and just like not very useful. I mean, Kahori's like not terrible for AC content. But yeah, I wouldn't. And Spot's not terrible either, to be honest. Like I'm trying to rank these characters among themselves within their groups. But yeah, not too much better than what you're looking at compared to like Morbius and Quasar and stuff like that. No, he's actually not farmable. He's actually super rare. So we're gonna put Namor up here because he's very good and he is also super rare. Nick Fury, super rare as well. Also a good character because of his support abilities. So I would certainly put him up here with some of the best here characters. Polaris, also super rare, also quite strong because of her leadership and support for mutant allies. It's a little bit more technical, but it is still good. Spectrum is pretty good. I would say, yeah, it probably deserves to be about there. Spider-Woman, same sort of thing. She has nice support abilities and support lead for Spider-Verse characters for PvP, but that never really materialized. But she's like not bad. AC stuff, whatever. So I think putting her there makes sense. Sylvie's pretty much rare and useless. Yeah, pretty much rare and useless at this point. Thane is pretty good. He probably needs to be about here. He's rare, and he's not bad, but yeah, not that great either. Wendell, oh man, Quendell's pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. He is super rare, but he's also pretty bad. I think putting him here is a stretch. I honestly think he deserves to be here. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna put him. Same thing with Wenwu, just rare and useless, unfortunately. Same thing with Arrow, rare and useless, but quite a bit worse than some of these characters. So I think she probably deserves to be here. Echo is rare. I don't have her newest icon, so we're going to use the previous one. But Echo is obviously, you know, pretty good, I would say. And of course, she gets even better at tier 4, but it's a bit unfair to compare her to these characters at tier 4. But I think, honestly, I think she deserves to be about there. You could argue Dazzler deserves to be up here with M'Baku. Yeah, I think that's fair to put her up there. Electro, he's kind of rare and useless at this point. Yeah, not too great. Good leadership for the Sinister Six, but yeah. Juggernaut, kind of rare and useless at this point, I would say. Yeah. Oh, we have another Mr. Sinister for some reason. That's not supposed to be there. My apologies. We duplicated him somehow. Sunbird is a support, but the Warriors of the Sky have basically no use in PvP, so he's pretty much rare and useless. Zemo's a good lead, but because he's trapped at tier 2, you guessed it, he's also rare and useless. So that's pretty cool. And then Toxin is pretty much rare and useless. Yeah, he's okay for like some minor AC stuff, but he's not going to blow you out of the water, so he probably deserves to be around somewhere like there. So yeah, that is how it shakes out. That's 70 premium tier 2 characters. And that's where I think it's sort of right. So I genuinely think like the best option, not the best option, but I think the most value, especially if you can buy her seasonal uniform, like only if you can buy her seasonal uniform, of course, is Luna. If you can't get her seasonal uniform, then Luna drops down to like here, honestly. So just keep that in mind. Seasonal uniform does affect us tremendously. Then Carnage is amazing. I know you can farm him from dimension missions. Like I have it up right here to see. Like I know he's technically farmable, but again, I just value being able to plug that character in right away, start building that character up to tier 3 transcended right away, rather than, okay, I'm going to spend the next like 4 weeks refreshing with gold, refreshing. Oh, did I get him? Okay, now I'm going to spam a bunch of energy. Oh, did I get bios? And this sort of thing. And then you have to use a bunch of rank up tickets, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, this is how I rank it. But again, I would rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would literally rank them like that all the way down. So hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you're going to use the premium tier 2 selector on. And don't forget, reminder, tomorrow night at 9 p.m. I believe there's going to be a live stream for next week's update. There's a major update coming next week. It's going to be huge. It bleeds into the anniversary. 3RL is going to be diving into it. Usually update live streams are on Monday, and that's when we react. But this time around, they're doing it on Thursday. So maybe they have some special stuff for us. They have a special guest announced from Marvel Games. So that should be really cool to see what's up with that. So do not miss it. Be here tomorrow night. I'll be live streaming my reaction, and I'll have a special surprise. Gambling for the anniversary. I'll have a special surprise for you guys after the live stream reaction. All right, keep it locked on the channel. Thank you guys so much. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Take care.